Hey guys. Well, yeah, I'm back. So I went through my stash and I found a different piece of cotton. And guess what? It sewed just fine. In fact, I sewed through 4 layers of cotton, 2 layers of canvas, and a ribbon. No problemo. So seriously, it was the gold specks on the fabric that was causing the problem. So I tossed it. I cut out another piece. And I know that we already had our whole show, but I thought I would show you how to sew the bag for those of you that wanted to finish it for the weekend. All right? So I had to test it off live, right? Hi again, Peggy. All right, so let me just show you the fabric that I found. And I guess we'll call this tote bag part 2. Okay, so the fabric. I still have my canvas right here. And now I have a new soft cotton, right? Same measurements, 2 pieces, and then here's my lining. So these are cut, let's see what we got, about 17.5 inches wide and 36 inches long. This is a fold at the bottom. This piece here, I cut 15 inches, again by the 17.5 inches because that's the fold. This is going to be our pocket. So let's do this again. I see. You guys are like, am I watching the same show? I should have changed shirts and then you wouldn't have known, right? You would have thought it was a whole different day. Okay, y'all ready? So this new fabric is super soft and it's been pre-washed, and I'll just show you real quick what I just sewed through, just for the record. So I'm using a number 14 needle. 2 layers of canvas. 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of cotton, and the ribbon at the top. How many layers is that? A lot. Sewed with no problem, right? So I know that some of you, I don't even know if I'll leave the other one up. I thought we just sew this bag over. I just have a meeting at 4 with the Fashion Sewing Club. So don't let me go past that, all right? So we're gonna take 2 on this bag. So you have 2 pieces, 1 canvas. We are making a tote bag for those of you that are totally clueless. I have a piece of canvas, 36 inches by 17 inches wide. And we have cotton, soft cotton with no metallic in it. Same dimensions. And we have our pocket. So you ready? Yeah, you could use other fabric, Tara. In fact, I have a lot of bags of just, well, any cotton would work really, except the one with the metallic in it, all right? Okay, so let's go back and let's go sew. So back over here to the table. I'm just going to do this whole thing over, and then I will probably just get rid of the last one. So here is our pocket. I'm just going to put this to the side. The other thing I've cut here are, this is 2.5 inch, or what? No, 1.5 inch grosgrain ribbon. So I've cut 2 for the handle, and those are 38 inches long. You could make your handles as long as you want. And then I have 1 more cut that is the whole width of the bag. All right, so let's get our pocket done. I'm just going to press this. This is like deja vu, Groundhog Day, except with a different fabric, right? All right, so I'm just going to take 1 layer of this. And the folded edge is going to go, this is the top of your bag. The folded edge goes here, and you want it down about 3 inches because you need room to put things in. All right, I'm going to fold this back. And you just want to make sure that your sides match up because we're going to stitch from here to here. All right, let's go to the sewing machine And for those of you that have a decorative, have decorative stitches on your machine, this is not where you would use it. You just want a straight stitch here with about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. But don't forget when you do the pockets for your bag, that's a great place to do that. Oh my goodness. That's so beautiful. Yeah, I know. You all are crying with me. Well, crying or laughing. I'm not sure which. All right. You really don't need to back stitch. I'm just going to go ahead and do that, but it's going to be sewn in the seam anyways. All right. So we have this here. Now let's go back over to the pressing area. This is the top of our bag. And just fold this up and give it a nice pressing. Now, if you don't have a lot of fabric, you don't have to finish the inside of your pocket, but I do this because I sewed it down, and now this is just my only raw edge. So when I lift this up, I will stitch across here, and then this seam allowance will be enclosed, and the inside of the pocket is going to look as good as the outside of the pocket. Oh, thanks, Laura. I like this fabric too. Karina, it did sound beautiful. It's like, oh, the sewing machine sounds like a normal sewing machine now. Yucky fabric. That's what I get. You know me, I like that bling on the fabric, but I guess I'm just going to have to. And I seriously would have played with that for a while until you mentioned about scratching my glasses, which I don't want to do. Okay, so we have to mark again. Grab my phone. I love that. We've all been there, done that. Yeah, but you probably weren't live, so at least you make me feel better. Now I made this pocket a little shorter, so I'm not going to worry about sewing another line here. I was trying to make it a little faster so we can finish this before my 4 o'clock. All right, so I need enough room for my phone. So let's go. Remember, you have to make it wider than whatever you're putting in here. So there's that. I'm going to use my quilter's ruler. Now, I probably won't finish the entire tote bag with you today, but I have to sew the sides so you can see the magic and then just walk you through everything else. And then don't forget to go to the Brother blog if you want more tutorials on that. So there's one line and there's one line. This is where if you had decorative stitches, that would look great. Oh, hey, that's a good idea, Karina. Add a little vinyl on there. Or with my Scan and Cut, I have the rhinestone kit. I could do that. That's a great idea. Okay, that's so strange. It's the same pocket. What did I do on the same pocket? I would swear that is so weird. Unless it's my thread now. Oh my word. I just sewed through all those layers. All right, I'm going to move a different part of my pocket. That is really weird. My thread is free. And if that's the case, I cry uncle. That makes no sense. All right, come back over here. I'm going to fold this. I'm going to try one more thing. And if that's it, I'm done. And I could have changed thread, you know. I am using an older spool of thread, and it's not sticking on the bottom, but it shouldn't matter. All right. Do I dare? I'll try it. So you layer this inside. I'm leaving the pockets for now. And then this layer. And I just want to try this because if it's just those weird pockets, which doesn't make any sense, my bobbin looks good, my thread looks good. could it be the same pocket? It's not even Friday. That's usually when things in here get possessed. Stitches on here, fine. Let me make it even thicker. Stitches on here, fine. Okay, you guys are my witnesses. Now the fabric came from the same location. I don't think that should matter. All right, we are sewing through 2 layers of canvas, 2 layers of lining. I know, I'm like crying over here, Karina. The cursed pocket. Oh, but I don't need to rethread because it's stitching fine. Now, the one thing I want to show you that I was watching. Oops, you're not even watching me. I'm sorry. On here, it's stitching fine. What I was looking at is here, making sure it's not sticking on here at all, because that's the thread. But here, I'm stitching now through all these layers. I didn't know you were looking at my ironing board. 2 layers of canvas, 2 layers of lining. Now, when we get to the 4 layers of pockets, if it's the pocket, I'm crying uncle on the pocket. I'm just going to use this by hand for a second just to make sure I'm not breaking any more needles. This one's a chrome needle. Those things are expensive. Actually, I don't think I've ever broken a chrome needle. Okay, it's looking fine, right? Okay, you guys, I'm cracking up. It's like the cursed pocket. You're right, Karina, because this is sewing through all those layers plus more layers, and it's sewing just fine. I'm sewing really slow because I'm a little gun shy right now. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So just for the record, not only are we sewing through all those pockets, now you do need to back stitch up here. This is what we're sewing through right now. So you guys want to explain that pocket thing to me? I don't know. We're sewing through 2 layers of canvas right now, 2 layers of fabric, and 2 layers of pocket, no problemo. I guess I'm just not meant to have a pocket in this one right now. What did we say about staples? I'm so kidding. I'll go back and sew that. We'll figure it out, but I'm thinking I'm leaving that pocket. So you have to make sure your fold at the bottom is lined up. See how I have it lined up right here? This is the bottom fold. All the right sides of the fabric are together. Give yourself at least a 1-inch seam allowance. You just want extra room. So when you flip it, and you need that extra fabric too. It looks like I'm sewing with a 5/8-inch seam allowance. Now you need to make sure this stays nice and flat. I'm just going to zoom out just a little bit. Oh, now Peggy, if you think I'm going back to that gold fabric, you're nuts. Although I did buy this at the same place, but it shouldn't have mattered. So that's just a weird, I have no idea. I give up on that. Because I'm stitching through way more layers right here than just that little pocket. All right, now notice it's a little higher on my fabric up here. It doesn't matter. It just means I didn't cut it totally straight. So I'll fix that before we flip this around. And when you get to the top, do a little back stitch. Well, if this if this was a cursed bag, I don't want to take it on the boat, wouldn't you say? I already had enough bad luck last week when I fell into the engine room. All right, so here's your fold. I'm going to just take you over here. You see this okay? All right, so here's my bag. It looks like it's a little bit longer at the top, so I'm just going to cut that off to make sure it's nice and even. Because you want your lining and the top of your bag to be the same. And your bag doesn't have to be this big if you don't want, by the way. I'm just going to cut a little bit of that away. It really doesn't matter because it's going to be in the seam allowance. But so this top edge needs to be the same. And so you have your fabric all layered like this. And then you just reach your hand in and flip it around. Okay. It's like a magic, voila. I'll take you over to the other camera so you can see. Okay, so my bag. I've never broken a chrome needle, by the way, Tessa, ever. Knock on. But I was a little gun shy after this my pocket incident. Oh no, Susan, is that the first thing you ever watched of me? So this is what it was. Remember, we had our lining, and then you kind of keep flipping it around. There's the inside of my bag, and Tessa, there is no pattern of the bag. You just have to watch the last video to get the measurements. And you can go to blog.brothersews though, and there are a lot of tote bags on there. A 6-part series I did on video. Voila. Looks great, right? And then it depends like how, I mean, if you, at this point, you can look at your bag and say, I don't know, maybe I don't need it this long. I want it shorter. So you can always change it later, but if you have your pockets finished, you can't. So this is the outside of the bag and this is the inside of the bag. Yep, it's like magic. So I'm just gonna walk you through the other steps because I know you're gonna get this just fine, but this was the part you had to see in person, okay? Hey Tessa, there is no pattern. So part 1 is on here. You can just go back and watch. There's no pattern. If you start this video from the beginning, it'll tell you how long each piece of fabric is, all right? Okay, so let's go back over here. And I just want to walk you through the last few steps. So you have straps. The straps are about 38 inches long. So the first thing you want to do is mark where you want these to go. I usually, you can have them wherever you want. So you want them a little ways from the edge. You don't want them right on the edge. And that's about, I'll measure, because I know some of you guys like the exact measurement for that. Okay, and let's see, this one is 3 inches and 3 inches. That looks pretty good. That's a super long handle. Let me see how big this is on me. No, it'll work. And now I'll go to this side. Just make sure this doesn't twist when you put it on. Otherwise your handle will be twisted. And I'm pinning this to the outside layer and the lining. See that? Okay. And then on this side, 3 inches. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back over to the big camera. I want to see something. Okay. How does that? Too long? If you have a boxed edge at the bottom, remember that's going to make this a little shorter. I think that's fine. It'll fit all my beach stuff. And yeah, looks pretty good. Now, if my luminaire or stellaire was not embroidering right now, first I would just sew these. But on your machine, and you might even have an older machine, a Dream Machine. I think the Quattro did this as well, the Dreamweaver. You can use that section of your screen where you can stitch sideways and do cute little boxes over this. Yeah. All right, so let me go back over and I'll show you the last step. Okay, so there are those. And then your last step is going to be, after you stitch these on, I usually like to do a double stitch across here just to keep that nice and tight. you'll take one more piece of ribbing, and I usually start right underneath one of these handles, because then when I lift this up to stitch, it'll cover it up. So start right there. If you want, you can fold this in half and press it so you know it's pressed exactly in half. And you'll just pin this to the top edge. And what you're doing is you're going to pin. It's such a fast, if you have ribbon, you could use ribbon. If you have bias tape, you can use bias tape, anything like that. I'm just using the Grow Grain because I had it in my stash and it matched this bag perfectly. And you'll do this all the way around and it'll end right here. Does that make sense? So this is also where if you have decorative stitches on your machine, you'd want to stitch all the way around. And then when you're finished putting that on, then your last step will be to take these up and you can stitch a little box or something decorative. This is where that sideways stitching would be perfect. So that'll be the outside of your bag. And then that's the inside of your bag. So at least now you got to see the magic. You got to see how the bag went together. My goodness gracious. Pockets are not my friend today, but I am actually going to go and do decorative stitches on there anyways, as soon as I'm done embroidering. So that was part 2. Part 1 showed you through everything except for that weird thing that happened with that gold fabric. And it turns out it's just the pockets. So anyways, we sewed through all those layers of fabric, no problem at all. So who knows, something weird. So do you have any questions before I hang up from our part 2? If I could put them together in one video, I would do that. But since it's live, I can't do that. Yeah, Marilyn, you have to remember that sideways stitching is so much fun. Yes. And you know, another part you could do that on is, well, the handles is a great place. But you can also do little decorations on the bag. There's a lot of ideas. You could do it at the top of each pocket. Maybe that's what I should do to hold those things in place, right? And no gold metallic. Good? Ta-da! Yes, perfect. Yeah, Janice, whew. You know, Celeste, it could. And you know what? I did not change the thread. I changed the needle, which it sewed fine, you know, through all those layers. I don't know. Louise, would you box the corners, all layers together or each layer separately? Oh, great question. Let me go grab the bag. Great name, Angela. Okay, I'll show you real quick. I would box all together. So take your bag back after you switch it this way, you know, so you know which way everything's going. Karina, are you sure the pockets are big enough? Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's it. I have done that before. All right, so I'm turning my bag inside out. Oh, you too, Diane. Have a great weekend. Everybody, a lot of you have in the USA have a holiday weekend too. So I have this inside out. And what you want to do is there's a seam. That's your side seam. And remember, you don't have a seam at the bottom, but you can see my pressed edge there. You're going to line up your pressed edge with this here. So you have your pressed edge of your center right here, and this is your side seam. Make a little triangle. And you can make your box as big as you want to. I mean, like your boxed edge. I will probably stitch about right there, which is down about 2 inches. And that'll give me a nice wide bag to put bottled water in and stuff like that too. And once you sew that, your boxed edges are finished. That was a great question. So you're actually going through all those layers. Yeah. And I did that in the brother blog. So let me just get that blog up. I saw Tessa and a few other people asking for that. Here is, again, the page that you go to. Oh, thanks, Belle. Gold star for persevering. Yes. Well, I was driving me crazy. And plus, you had to see the whole thing. So I just put that. It looks like Brother posted that. I posted that. There's a link to the Brother blog. There's a ton of tote bags in there, but there's a 6-part series that you can watch all along. Lisa, this is really reaching, but could it have been the tailor's chalk? Nope, that's reaching. I've sewed through that all the time for years. What blouse am I wearing, Mary Lou? This is, I'm wearing the ruche tee. This is the ruche tee with no sleeves. Yeah, just with a ITY knit. Oh, thanks, Pam. She does her box edges 2 inches. And you're welcome, Pamela. All right, easy peasy. Okay, guys, that was it. It's like Groundhog Day, but at least now you got to see how to finish the bag. So I hope you have a great weekend. For those of you that have a nice long weekend for the 4th, have a good time. Be safe, and maybe I'll see you at the beach. All right, bye, everyone. Thanks for popping back in.